Well, welcome to Sunday school. I know I'm a little late this morning, but I warned you I was going to be a little late this morning, so don't hold me too accountable to. Anyway, and I'm going to have to make Sunday school a little short today because you've all been so good. There's nothing for you to learn on Sunday school. So let's talk about demons for a second. Now, I hope you've all brought your demons with you to Sunday school this morning. Actually, I just got off of a delightful interview with Foolish Fish. Okay, one of my favorite, I guess we'd call him bloggers in the lingo of you hip young kids. And it was just a delight. And we talked about my upcoming Vision in the Desert Enochian 3-day retreat. And we talked a lot about my upcoming book, The Tarot Architect. So it was an opportunity for me to shamelessly self-promote, and you know how shy I am about doing that. So anyway, so I'm still sitting here fresh off of that interview, and I've got a few books laying around, and Constance told me that breakfast is a few minutes off, and I had time for at least a short little visit with you. So I turned my attention in pure bibliomantic style and opened, because I had this book here, The Tarot of Ceremonial Magic. It's really the book, the original book that goes with the tarot cards. Tarot of Ceremonial Magic. Okay. Here's the back of the box of this new edition. Okay. There it is. And so it was really one of the oldest of my, is only the second or third book that I did with Weiser way back in, let me see when this was first, 1995. Wow. I'm going to read you what I have to say about the Goetia, because each of those cards, okay, each of the small cards, the 36 small cards, each have two spirits of the Goetia associated with them. The one there on the left is the spirit by day, and the one on the right is the spirit by night. But you can whip any of them up day or night. Okay, it's just, they don't care. It's night somewhere, always. Okay. The trappings of Goetic evocation resemble a Christopher Lee Gothic horror film. The magician stands inside a magic circle, protected by the names of God, archangels, angels, and other Kabbalistic words of power. By a combination of powerful yet eloquent exorcisms and terrifyingly incomprehensible barbarous words of evocation, the magician calls forth a demon from the pits of hell and traps it in a magic triangle. There it reluctantly awaits to hear its master's instructions. Yes, master. Then, as usual is the case in horror films, the magician, because of some tragic character flaw or unresolved issue stemming from his childhood in a dysfunctional family, loses his grip on the demon and is plunged to hell after being killed in the most unspeakably grotesque yet poetically fitting manner. While it's true that Goetic evocations are sometimes accompanied by strange, sometimes unexplainable phenomena, in nearly 20 years of practice, well, we can now say 50 years, I think, here, I have yet to encounter anything resembling the above colorful scenario. I do recognize, to the filmmaker's credit, the basic elements of this form of magic. Yes, the magician stands inside a magic circle upon which are divine names. Yes, the spirit is called forth by conjurations and strange words, and is trapped in a triangle. Yes, the spirit is of the infernal variety, and, at least in the mind of the magician, can be very dangerous if not carefully controlled. The obvious question is, why on earth would anyone in their right mind involve themselves in such an enterprise? And I have a footnote that says, to many critics, a magician in his or her right mind is an oxymoron. For those who have not yet been irreparably damaged by simplistic and paranoid religious programming, the answer lies in the understanding of the term infernal spirit. How many of us can truthfully say that we've never allowed greed or jealousy or insecurity or lust or laziness to ruin a potential triumph? How many times have you said to yourself, I'm my own worst enemy? Couldn't these bad habits and character flaws be viewed as nasty little imps who pop up at the worst possible times and torpedo even the best laid plans? Wouldn't we just love to master them and force them to work for our benefit instead of our undoing? Certainly, from one perspective, hell is our own psyche, and the infernal spirits can be considered portions of the unconscious mind or aspects of our emotional life. Up until the moment of evocation, these demons remain uncontrolled and undirected. The various spirits of classical and magical literature are convenient and, in some cases, uncannily accurate personifications of these various potential powers. And what makes them dangerous is the fact that unless they are called forth and forced to labor in harmony with the magician's will, they will continue to run amok and work their mischief. The 72 spirits of the Goetia are drawn from one of the best-known grimoires of all time, the Lesser Key of Solomon, the first book of the Lemegeton. Several of the spirits appear to be degenerated versions of gods of the ancients. Baal, Ashtaroth, and Belial, while others appear to be genii of the 1001 Arabian Nights. Those who in the past translated, copied, and recopied the various texts of the Lemegeton were obviously not sympathetic to the pagan theology represented by spirits. And so we can never be sure what the original attributes of the spirits actually were. The mere fact that they have come to us down as fallen angels of the classic Miltonian ilk is suspect in itself. Even more striking is the sex-negative attitude displayed by the fact that all the spirits are male, including the dukes Ashtaroth, used to be the goddess Astarte, and Gremori, who appears as a beautiful woman, and Vepar, a mermaid. There are those whose opinions I respect very much, who maintain that the spirits of the Goetia have an objective existence and can and do operate independently of the magician's will. Now, I don't argue with that, because there's lots of stuff that, from our point of view inside ourselves, is objective. You are, my computer is. But I'm putting it inside myself to say, my computer, you are, this is. There are others who aver that they are entirely subjective and have no existence outside the magician's mind. I don't believe that. I'm just saying there is no outside of your mind. But I digress. Aleister Crowley went so far in his introduction to the Goetia to say that spirits are a portion of the human brain. Even Crowley soon disagreed with that, okay? But in a way, they're portions of the human mind, not brain. Brain's just meat. If properly isolated and disciplined, can be of great aid to the magician. But elsewhere in his writings, he appears to take an entirely different attitude. Whatever the true nature of the spirits may be, it is obvious to anyone who has been bold or reckless enough to perform a Goetic evocation that things happen. It seems obvious that part of what makes the magic of evocation work is the magician's acceptance, at least temporarily, that the spirit's existence is objective. Goetic magicians fall into two broad categories, at least in my eyes. Those who strive as far as humanly possible to replicate what they believe to be the original modus operandi, and those who don't. It all depends on the individual magician. If your religious convictions or sense of art is such that you feel that the evocation is doomed to failure, if you do not have every word of every conjuration, constraint, or curse duly memorized exactly as it appears in the 1687 Sloane manuscript, if you believe that you'll be blasted, torn apart, and have your soul eaten by a hideous halitosis snorting monster if one Hebrew word in your magical circle is misspelled, then it's absolutely essential that you take the time to meticulously do all those things correctly. On the other hand, if you feel confident that there's a simple formula of attitude and action that's the key to a successful evocation, and that as long as the basic elements of that formula are mastered, the operation will succeed. Then it would be a waste of time to memorize conjurations that are meaningless to you, or guard your circle with the names of gods who you do not worship. It is probably clear to the reader I more or less fall into the latter category. Anyway, that's how I begin my little section of this book, which contains, I think, key portions of the Lesser Key of Solomon, so that you can use the Tarot of Ceremonial Magic to actually perform Goetic evocations. I know that was a very, very short Sunday school, and that many of you have heard that section of that book before. But you know, if you don't even have the cards, but especially if you do, and you don't have this book, I'm going to take this opportunity to shamelessly promote it and encourage you to do so. It's in print, it's for sale, Amazon, Weiser, I think even Kmart or Walmart. Whatever you do, if you buy it, I'll probably get a few cents that I can put toward kale and tofu. So until tomorrow for the Order of Monday Morning, thank you for waiting, and hope you enjoyed Sunday school nonetheless. Until tomorrow, continue to be good to yourself, be good to each other. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Love is the law. Love under will.